What's up everybody, it's Kami, and after being out of commission for a week because my headphones broke, I got a cold, and I had a really bad stomach bug, we are now here with days 2 through 8 of Kamimas to catch up on. So I'm going to be talking about everything briefly since Kamimas videos are supposed to be short and sweet and to the point and something to just keep your attention for the day. Get some discussion going on up until Christmas, you know, keep you distracted from whatever gifts it is that you're getting until you get them. And if you don't celebrate Christmas and you watch my videos, then that just means that you get to hear me talk about random stuff for 3 or 4 minutes every day, so it's cool. We're going to be starting off right away with day 2 of Kamimas, which is actually my favorite stands in part 5, and I chose 3 stands for this video. Fun fact, 2 out of those 3 stands are stands that are on my favorite stands of all time list, which is a lot of stands, but that just says how much I like about these stands. So the first stand on this list is White Album. And solely off aesthetics and design, I think White Album is one of the coolest looking stands, and it's definitely one of my favorite if we're talking about only appearance. Because the stand doesn't actually have its own form of being like a humanoid or anything like that. No, instead, JoJo wears the stand as a suit. So JoJo's got this sick ass ice suit. He's got like this little fin in the back. He has ice skates that allow him to move ridiculously quick. And fun fact, his freezing capabilities are ridiculously overpowered. And that's one of the things that I simply like about this stand. It's just really damn strong. JoJo could completely freeze anybody in an instant. He can just completely solidify their limbs by freezing them and then just break them off like ice. He can do a whole bunch of crazy shit because this stand is just that strong. Now JoJo does have a hole in the back of his neck that allows him to breathe through the suit and stuff like that, which is the vulnerable spot, and that is unfortunately where he ends up getting bodied from. But aside from that, his suit is actually capable of tanking bullets before they can fully penetrate, which is pretty impressive. He can control his freezing with precision to make it so that he can actually use the skates on his suit to skate around and be ridiculously fast, faster than anybody could actually end up swimming if they tried to swim away from him, and freezing the water fast enough that they can swim, and traveling over it fast enough before they can do anything, changing objects into really sharp blades of ice, you know, things like that. It's really broken, he's super fast, it's super strong, he looks cool, and honestly, I don't even know what else to say about the stand, it's just really cool. The next one on this list is Sex Pistols. Now, Sex Pistols allow Mista to reload his bullets ridiculously quickly, and the only other thing that they really do is redirect bullets, but considering that Mista is a marksman and all he does is shoot people, this is a ridiculously strong stand for him. The Sex Pistols can also break apart their bullets into little projectile pieces, which we see when he has his fight against Sal. And I just have always been a fan of the way that the Sex Pistols interact with one each other, and I think that they do a really good job of showing this so far in the anime just from our first fight with Mista that we've seen. And that's pretty much it. It's really simple and to the point. I've always just been a fan of it. I think it's a really cool stand design too. So the last Vento Aureo stand that we're talking about out of my 3 favorites is Metallica. So the stand user Risotto can actually use his stand Metallica to stick to himself and reflect light off of his body so that he can kind of blend into the background of things and actually appear invisible, which I think is a pretty cool aspect of it. He can also stick Metallica into another stand and actually take control of it by forcefully manipulating it a little bit, which he does when he's fighting Doppio and he attacks him with Narancia's Aerosmith. And the main thing with Metallica is it actually is capable of manipulating the iron, whether it's in something in the environment or a person's body. You could completely drain the iron from your body, which would then turn your blood into poison, and then you would kind of just die. So Risotto can actually just stall out his opponents as long as he has the upper hand. And he has enough precision to actually make objects inside of people's body with the iron. So he can just kill you from the inside out by turning the iron in your blood into razor blades, needles, or scissors and damaging you from the inside out. It's a really strong stand, and I think that the stand design itself is actually kind of funny since it's just a bunch of little particle looking, rock looking people out of the iron. And I think that the name is just pretty cool. Next, we're going to be talking about our least favorite stands in part 5, which are 2 really weird stands, and they're also shown off together, and that's Talking Head and Clash. So Talking Head actually has no combat ability whatsoever, but what it ends up doing is it attaches itself onto the victim's tongue, and then when it does this, it's able to constantly force the person to lie so that they can't say the truth. And the stand user Tejano uses this when he attacks Narancia with it so that Narancia can't actually tell the group that he's being attacked by a stand. And then you pair this with his friend Squallow's stand Clash, which is this mechanical looking shark thing, and they actually make a really good pair together, because Clash has the ability to teleport into a bunch of bodies of water, and since this is this little shark thing, it'll just try and bite off the opponent's body parts. So you have Narancia who is unable to tell the truth to his boys that he's being attacked by a stand, and then another stand that's moving around trying to eat him from the inside out. It's a shark attack that you can't talk about. And again, the idea is cool, and it's actually a really deadly combo to have both of them together, but I'm just not a huge fan of them. That's it. Next thing I'm going to be talking about is my favorite side antagonist in JoJo, which is pretty much anybody that isn't a main villain, and it's Ringo Rodigan. Now, I've spoken about Ringo Rodigan before, but not too much into detail, and he's one of my favorite Steel Ball Run characters. Also, he looks like Yu Narukami from Persona, so for some reason when I saw him for the first time, it was a very nostalgic feel, even though I wasn't familiar with him at all, but I was familiar with Yu, so there was kind of a connection there. Although Ringo came out way before Yu was ever a thing. Ringo serves as a roadblock for Johnny and Gyro, and he actually ends up fighting only Gyro. He's just a guy with a gun, but his stand Mandem allows him to rewind time by 6 seconds. So of course this is going to give him the upper hand in most of his fights, but he's fighting our main character, so unfortunately he's going to lose. But even though he loses, he actually gains respect for Gyro after the end of their fight, and we get the iconic "Welcome to the True Man's World" quote, which is just really damn cool. And I really do like Ringo just for the fact that he pushes Gyro closer towards his goal. Because he was basically like, hey, if you want to win the race, you're going to have to beat me. And that's exactly what Gyro does, and that's when he starts to take everything a little more serious. And this is something that I can just appreciate a lot, because I think it's really cool, and I think that his character serves a really good purpose. Next we have our favorite main antagonist in JoJo, which this has changed, I'm pretty sure, since the last time I talked about favorite main villains in JoJo. Way back, I want to say maybe a year or two ago. My new favorite main villain is actually Pucci. And while I think all the main villains in JoJo are really cool, except Cars, he's still my least favorite, but I still think he's cool to an extent. Pucci has got a newfound appreciation for me in the last couple months, the more I've been looking into Stone Ocean and why I like it so much. As Pucci is actually one of the few main antagonists that reaches his end goal of getting what he wants by the time everything is almost done, when he reaches heaven. And Dio kinda does this also when he gets Joseph's blood and he gets really strong. And Kars becomes the ultimate life form, although they both still lose, Pucci actually wins. Design wise, I think Pucci looks really good except for his haircut. I'm gonna have to take him with me to the barbershop one day, see if I can get that somehow fixed up. I don't know why his hairline goes into his eyebrows. And then when he transforms, he has the star on his forehead. It's really weird. But other than that, I think the Pucci himself looks really cool. I think that his stands all have amazing designs, and they're actually some of my favorite looking stands in the whole series. And Pucci is actually going to be our main focus for the next 2 topics, which is going to be our favorite underrated fight in all of JoJo and my favorite stand design. So first, let's talk about our underrated fight. So the underrated fight is actually Jolene versus Pucci. And I'm talking about the first actual fight around the time of Green Baby, not during the frogs, not towards the end game. I guess you can count this as their second encounter and the second quote-unquote fight, but this is the one that really feels like an actual fight at first. So while a bunch of crazy stuff is going on, Pucci uses White Snake to disguise himself as weather report to trick Foo Fighters to bring himself closer to Jolene and the Green Baby. White Snake actually ends up impaling Anasui and Foo Fighters, and this is when Foo Fighters dies, rest in peace. And Anasui almost dies, but he's still fine. But what Jolene ends up doing is she handcuffs herself to Pucci so that they can just have a really close fist fight. And Pucci actually gets overwhelmed by Jolene's strength, which I think is a bit of a detail that everybody kind of just ignores or doesn't pay much attention to, because Pucci couldn't keep fighting, so what he had to do was distract Jolene with the stand disc for Star Platinum. I apologize, I meant to say Jotaro's memory disc. I got the 2 discs mixed up. But he actually throws Jotaro's memory disc towards Anasui, who's on the ground dying, so that Jolene is focused on that instead of Pucci, who then goes to actually grab the Green Baby and fuse with it. And then he just leaves. So the fight itself is really quick and to the point. Pucci kills off one of our main cast members and almost kills off another one. And even though he started to lose this fight when it came to the fist fight, he still had the brains to actually get himself out of it. He wasn't cocky about it, he didn't try to stay in and be like, no, I'm gonna kill you. He didn't do anything arrogant. His main priority was getting the Green Baby, and that's exactly what he did. And in the process, he killed Foo Fighters, which means he got rid of another stand that could have potentially been a threat to him. So I just think that the fight is really damn good. And then our next topic is my new favorite stand design. Like I mentioned a little earlier, I think that all of Pucci's stands are really fantastic looking, and they're actually my favorite stands. Design-wise, I should say. White Snake is this giant dude with Gact written all over his body. I'm not sure what the Gact is supposed to mean, but he's got a spiked collar and boots. Do y'all see the drip on this man? It's crazy. Seamoon still has the Gact written across his chest, and again, I'm still not sure what that means. But Seamoon looks really dope. It's the fusion between White Snake and Green Baby. And I actually really like its color palette of green and gray. I think it looks really dope. And also, why the hell does he hold his belt like that? This is the Seamoon Eyes of Heaven render. I still don't understand why he holds his belt on his waist like that. Like, dude, just buckle your belt. What are you doing? But he looks really cool, and he's got a bunch of arrows all over his body. And then Made in Heaven is this angel-looking SMT-ass character on a horse with a bunch of clocks all over his body. Got some horse foreshadowing for Steel Ball Run. I see you, Rocky. And actually, the horse kind of looks like a donkey. At least it kind of has donkey-looking ears. This thing is weird. But it's because it's so weird and so different that I really like the stand design a lot. He's got these giant feathers around his neck. He's got something wrapped around the top of his head. He's riding a horse. He has a bunch of clocks and shit. And seeing the way how Poochie just shreds through everybody with all 3 of these stand abilities throughout the part and finishing everything off of Made in Heaven is really damn cool to me. And I also really like the fact that his stand evolving also goes with this character improving from the beginning of the part to the end of the part as he evolves throughout time. And then the last thing I want to talk about is my least favorite fight in all of JoJo, and I don't even want to talk about it because it is that bad, and it's Yo-Yo Ma. Now, I don't even want to actually talk about Yo-Yo Ma. It's just really boring, it's ugly, it's gross. They can't actually do anything to the stand, so they have to beat up the stand user instead. Again, it's really gross. He's got like flies and shit and acid spit, and he just looks ugly. And the fight is so boring, and it's right before we get the stuff with Green Baby and Poochie showing up, which is one of my favorite fights, so this kind of just is like, really? But I guess they had to get rid of the trash before the really good stuff right after it. So I guess it kind of, you know, it cancels out. It's on, you know, some PEMDAS shit. But that's it for Kamimas days 2 through 8. Of course, for all of the topics, you guys can let me know what you think down below in the comments. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing more stuff with Kamimas. It's actually going to be Friday tomorrow. So we're going to be talking about last week's JoJo episode and this week's episode, since I didn't do a stream for last week's JoJo episode. So we'll still be doing the stream tomorrow around 1 p.m. Eastern, usually is when I try to get it done. And once again, just to let you guys know what the topics were for the video and all this stuff for these past couple Kamimas days. It's 6 days in one video. We had favorite part 5 stands, least favorite part 5 stands, favorite side antagonist, favorite main antagonist, favorite underrated fight, least favorite fight, and favorite stand design. So thank you guys so much for watching. We're getting really close to 8,000 subscribers. I'm excited about that. Christmas is in a couple of days, and we're going to be close to New Year's soon. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.